On Asian Culture Complex Theater, dramaturge is going to talk about a new space for the international contemporary performing arts in Gwangju. ACCT will produce and present international performing art with a strong emphasis on Asian artists. Let's hear more about Max's thoughts for this new space located in the Asian Culture Complex. Please write down any questions during today's talk to ask for the question and answer. Without any hesitation, please welcome Max with a big round of applause.
Thank you very, very much for this nice introduction. And thanks for coming on a nice Saturday afternoon in such nice weather and taking the time to listen to me. As I was introduced, my name is Max and I'm working for the Asian Arts Theatre, as it's still called in this presentation, or Asian Cultural Complex Theatre, in the newly built cultural complex next door. I would like to, can everybody hear me? Because I prefer speaking without microphone. So I would like to briefly introduce you the project and what our plans are, what we want to do. First of all, I'm not so good with techniques. This one, okay. This is a aerial view of the Asian Cultural Complex, the whole, to give you the context, and it consists of 5 different institutions. This is the Culture and Technology Center for exhibitions and visual arts. We have the Research and Resources Center for art archiving and library parts. We have the Children's Arts Center for children performing and visual arts, and the 518 Memorial Hall to remember the Gwangju student democracy movement in the 1980s, very much connected to the place where the building is built. And this is the Asian Arts Theatre, for which I am working for. I quickly introduce the Asian Arts Theatre facility. This is the Grand Theatre, which is our biggest space. It is a black box theatre, which means it's an empty box that can be flexibly used. It has a transformable stage and seats that can be used in different ways, and it's directly connected to an outdoor stage through a big glass door that some of you maybe have already seen. It has a whole capacity of 1,200 people, and it's for all kinds of arts. Then there is a middle-sized theater, which is a proscenium theater with a stage, as you can see here, and quite standard. It has very good acoustic facilities, so it's very well usable for music projects in general, and it has a capacity of 570 people. Next stage is the gym of Gwangju Girls High School behind the cultural complex, a building that is demolished in the construction process, but we wanted to keep the gymnasium hall to use it as also another black box theater with a smaller capacity that is better usable for younger and upcoming artists, because of course the big space with 1,200 seats is too much for a first work or for somebody just starting. And the construction of it has already begun. And there is another one, which we call the studio. It's a white cube studio that can also be flexibly used for rehearsals, for showcases, for works that are also connected to multimedia things. And it's a performing space, as I just said, because on top there come 2 more rehearsal spaces that can be used for rehearsals for the 4 stages I was describing. And as I said, the grand performance hall is connected to an outdoor stage. Now I would like to go a little bit deeper in the aims and the content of the Asian Arts Theatre. First of all, we have already heard it's a place for Asian contemporary art. Why? But we have no answer for this, and also not the ambition to give you an answer. Our analysis is that Asia, in a lot of discussions we were having and pre-discussions we were having, is a concept that is constantly changing and is constantly calling for new definitions. So we consider it a way of thinking that is challenging itself. We don't want to make a statement or give an answer what it is, but perform these questions. So we would like to share and discuss contemporary arts of today in Asia there together. We see Asia as an organic and performative frame for creativity. So we want to provide a platform for the creation, the presentation, and the distribution of artistic works locally, nationally, and internationally. To say it a bit more in detail, Asian Arts Theatre wants to focus on the voices of contemporary Asian artists speaking from and about Asia today. We are eager to discover artists from all artistic disciplines, as well as interdisciplinary projects. And we are not only interested in developing their artworks or their forms, but we are more focused on promoting their attitude and their discourses. For us, contemporary art is not one discipline or one form, but it's a way of creating. It starts with analyzing your own world, which is also the global world, because we all live in a global world. We might not share the place we live, but we share the time we live in. This analysis of the artist has to become an interesting and most suitable creative form or artistic form, and we hope that the artist also always questions its own way of doing the art he or she is doing. So as I said, it's not about a formula or a given frame, but it's an idea of constantly questioning what art is today and how art can be produced today. How are we going to realize these things? We started working on this project, Asian Arts Theatre, 3 years ago with a big analysis of other projects that are similar happening in the region from China to Japan to Taiwan to other places, and also looking globally what we could feel would be needed. And we realized there is 2 major problems for Asian artists and for Korean artists to freely explore their creativity. The first one is a lack of production infrastructure, and the second one is a lack of presentation opportunities. Most of the works disappear after a few shows, and people have to find their own infrastructures for producing. So, on a first level, ACCT will provide a sustainable production system and support the artist through the process of his creation, from research, production, presentation to circulation. We are interested in discovering Asian artists, producing them or co-producing them with other partners, this I will explain later, and present their new works in ACCT by providing them financial, spatial, technical, residential, but also dramaturgical and conceptual support. The second aim I was quickly tackling is the presentation opportunities. We are working on creating a network within Asia which aim is to address which should be a very practical production circulation system surrounding an artist. This is a system that has been implemented in specific parts of the world, namely Europe, Latin America, also parts of Africa, very successfully. But we feel in Asia this is not the case yet. And as I mentioned before, we think this circulation system is crucial also to support an artist. It has often been the case that Asian artists look nearly towards Europe in order to present their works. But for us and ACCT, it is important to organize a starting point of looking towards each other with the artist in the center and his needs. So, to explain a bit more in detail, this integrated system of production and circulation means that Asian partners can come together around an artist in the center, provide them financial and physical support and infrastructure that is needed for the production, and present the work after the work has been made in different places. This is a kind of schematical illustration of this, of 4 partners around a new production of an artist that share the risk of the new creation and that also share the trust in the artist that is maybe needed to sustain this system. We hope that this system will stimulate the production of new works, as well as that it will provide more opportunities for artists to show their work to each other and to a bigger audience. So, summing up a bit, I would say, Asian Cultural Complex Theatre aims to become a hub for Asian contemporary art. It wants to open up an arena for the performing arts in which Asia and Asia, as well as Asia and the world, coexist in a balanced way. This is our aim for times in which multiple cultures, religions, ethnicities mix over a waste area that is spanning from Asia via Europe and Africa as far as the Americas. Now I will give you a quick overview on the concrete programming of this space, because this will illustrate my more global thoughts I was explaining. The program looks more or less like this, which is of course also a schematic view now. We are still working on it. And it will start, or ACCT will open with the Grand Opening Festival that is scheduled to take place in September 2015, together with the opening of the whole Asian Cultural Complex. For around 3 weeks, 27 to 30 commissioned, co-produced, and invited works will be shown, with a main emphasis on Asian artists. There will be around 22 Asian projects and a few other projects from around the world to illustrate the whole international approach. It will be followed by AAT season, which is divided in a fall and a spring season and consists in 4 major spines. The first one, our masters, presents our ACCT's subjective view on artistic figures that change theater. This section is co-curated by Free Lysen, a curator from Belgium, who just won the Erasmus Prize for her work she was doing in international arts. The second one is what we call Windows on Asian Contemporaneity. and it invites young programmers from all over Asia to present their own view on the world today. I give you one example, which is Minati from Indonesia. She's a dance programmer, and she will come in October to realize her window dealing with Orientalism, in which she will show different artistic works, make an exhibition, and a big symposium. So the idea is that not only us as the responsibles in ACCT can show or want to show the vision on what is Asia and what is contemporary performing arts, but we invite other people from the region to also share their vision. These might be go together with each other, contradict each other, clash with each other, but we hope this multiplicity of voices will give an even broader view on what arts today in Asia can be. The second one is the community outreach, which is a platform for local artists to produce and present their work. And for us it's important that they come together with people from the region and with people internationally, all in the same space. The fourth one is what we call production catalysator. It is a structure or one of the lines in the program that supports young Asian artists with, as I explained before, space and money, but also conceptually and dramaturgically. And these pieces that are produced in the production catalysator, they will end up in another festival, which is scheduled for May 2016, that is called the Asian Wave Festival, and will exclusively show new creations of young Asian artists. Now I would like to introduce some of our artists in the opening festival to give an idea about the more concrete idea about the content we are trying to perform. The first one is Hut Sun Yen. Hut Sun Yen is a Singaporean artist who is primarily working in the fields of film, video, performance. His main concern is big epic myths and the structure of these myths, and to use these myths as a tool to understand today's world, not as something that is old, forgotten, and behind us, but he uses it to understand today's world. He imagines and invents the past in order to reflect on the present and the future. His works and his visual works, his film works, have been shown in major venues such as the Guggenheim or the Venice Film Festival. And we believe especially that his performance work touches one of the important visions of AAT. It's this significance of connecting the past to the present and the future, creating something that we like to call an ancient future. This is the work called 10,000 Years, which is a co-production between the festival in Vienna, the Esplanade in Singapore, and the structure in Sydney that is called Carriage Works. And it focuses on the metaphor of the tiger in Malaysia. Hut Sun Yen excavated the waste archives on this metaphor and recaptures the meaning of the whole cosmology and ecology of the Malayan world, as well, or goes as far as its destruction under the Japanese colonialism, under communism that was followed by it, and its transformation into today's society. One could say, even though history changes, the tiger always survives. The next artist I would like to introduce is Simon Yang. Some of you might already know him. He's a world-renowned film director, representing the second new wave of Taiwanese cinema, and is always dealing with the human body, its limits, and the human need for connection and communication. It was his desire, when we started conversation with him, to to express his film world in a live, real-time space through a different form. So we decided to invite him in 3 different ways. He will present his new creation, he will present an installation, or basically 2 installations, one in the Gwangju cinema, one in the cultural complex, and this work in the Grand Performance Hall, which is called The Monk from Tang Dynasty, which is a co-production with Kunst and Festival des Arts in Brussels, Vienna Festival, and Taipei Arts Festival. It's about the monk from the Tang Dynasty who traveled towards the west for 10 years, which means India in this case, to reach the Buddhist scriptures and bring them back to China. This piece crosses the boundaries of life and death, dreams and reality, and paints a very slow landscape of time. The next artist I quickly wanted to tackle is Apishatpong Teresitaku, whose 2 films some of you might know are Uncle Gwangju, who can recall his past life, or Tropical Melody, winner of the Cannes Festival. He's a film director from Thailand, who has been, as I said, making films, but also working in video, photography, and installation since around 1994. We have commissioned him his first performative work that deals with multiple layers of consciousness through the story of a soldier who has fallen asleep and an old caretaker falling in love with him. Next company we are working with is Tao Dance Theater from Beijing. They became world renowned in the last years by creating their numerological series, which so far consists of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and will be, we are co-producing the next piece, number 8, in AAT. And Tao Ye is a Beijing-based artist who invented his completely own body language, which totally transcends the divisions of East and West, because it's neither rooted in Western modern dance, nor rooted in any Chinese traditional dance, but a very, very unique body language. He purely explores the body from the inside, so he invented a body language, or a rehearsal practice, maybe even, where no mirrors are allowed for the dancers, that they can only feel to their inside movements and show them on stage. And the whole orientation of the body in this dance language is not towards the vertical, where dance is normally oriented, but towards the horizontal. He will, as I said, present his new creation number 8 during the opening festivals. Then I would like to introduce 2 Korean artists that are part of the program. The first one is Sung Hwan Kim, who is one of the key artists at the moment working in interdisciplinary video and installation works. He recently had, in 2012, he was commissioned to do a big installation for the tanks in Tate Modern, and 4 months ago, he opened a show in Art Sonjin in Seoul, where he also presented a performance work. And for the opening of AAC, he will present his first major stage work, which is a kind of experimental opera, dealing with the questions of homeland, nationality, borders, how to transgress them, and with politics. He's based in New York, Seoul, and Berlin, which we also think is a very contemporary part of his whole artistic career, that he's an artist no longer connected to one identity or to one place, but his life consists of hybridity and of differences. The next artist, and the last artist I would like to introduce you before we can come to your questions, is Chi-Sun Kim. She's in her early 20s and presenting, in our opinion, a very unique perspective from her own generation. In her previous works, she has been questioning ways of tackling the little cracks and loopholes in our society system we are living in today. And in this new creation, she questions about escaping the system as a whole. She tries to imagine an alternative system by attempting to create a revolutionary or people's movement within the virtual game world, because she feels that a true revolution is no longer possible in reality. So she will organize and revisit movements such as the Chinese Occupy movement or the Arab Spring inside the game world using multiplayer online games and share this with us as an audience. So I'm more into conversation than just sending out. That's why I say thank you very, very much for your attention.